Hey, what's up YouTube? We've got some old crusty Z31 turbo axles here that we're going to refurbish. Going to take the rust off, repaint them, put new boots on them, and also flip the cages, because what I've heard is you need to flip them in order to install them on the Z to avoid binding. The word's kind of out on that, whether you have to, maybe not, depends on your ride height, etc. I'm going to go ahead and flip them because in order to put the new boots on, you kind of got to take them down that far apart anyway. But we're going to go ahead and get these refurbished. I'm going to start with cutting off these metal bands, and we'll get the boots slid back, the C-clip off. Okay, so as you saw, I used these cutters to get the clamps off. You could use a little grinding wheel, a bunch of different ways to get those off, both ends. This side has the cap on it, but all you need to do in order to get the cap off is just slide this back, and this will hit on the cap, and you just kind of tap it with a hammer on two ends, and it'll just push the cap off. Now, in here, there is a C-clip. You can see that C-clip at the top there. That's what we need to get off, so we need some C-clip pliers. We'll take that off, but before we do that, I'm going to wrap this in a bunch of tape, or maybe something tight so that the bearings don't go all everywhere. This will slide off, and then that is how we'll be able to slide on all of our new boots. I'm also going to put a bunch of new CV joint grease in there too. Okay, now that this end is off, this is also what they refer to as the cages. So this is what we'll be reversing when we put it back on. So it came off with this lip facing this way. We'll just be facing it to where this lip faces inward, and that will be flipping it. So we'll do that later. Now we can just pull this piece off. I'll probably clean it up and paint it while it's off. And now there is this one little ring left, but it doesn't have holes for like clips to pry it off. You probably could pry it off. I'm just gonna see if I can leave it. You know, the less things I gotta take apart, the better. So it's gonna be a pretty tight squeeze to get off probably, but it is rubber, so it should slide over that. It's just going to take me a minute. My hands are so greasy. It's such a messy job. Okay, so what I ended up doing was cutting a slit into that bottom part there. So didn't go all the way through. And there it is. So now we can pull this boot off and get rid of that one. I'll just go ahead and cut this one now. Just cut the whole boot. Probably should have done that. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but here we are. Got them off. So these are the old boots. We'll be replacing those. I'm going to get all of this cleaned up and get some new grease ready to go. Okay, so here are the new boots. I've got this from eBay, this box here, CV boot kit. So there's the part number. And it was like 30 bucks, which is pretty expensive considering you had to buy 2 of them. So 60 bucks around total. But they did include 2 packets of grease, some new clips or bands for the boots, even new C-clips, and yeah, so that's everything. So basically you get the whole package and even the grease, which is pretty nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this on because I did this once already, put this on and I forgot to put this on. So I had to take it off. This is take 2. So I'll slide this on. And now we can put the cages back on and we're gonna flip it. There's actually a video on YouTube that's Z31 cage flip. He actually flipped them already and then started filming and flipped them again. So the video is actually kind of misleading and confusing, can be confusing, because he flipped them in the video back to OEM. And I'm not going to show you guys flipping it back to OEM. This is the way it should be. So the concave part where it's kind of sunk in, the other side is pretty flat. This concave side is going to be what goes down or facing the diff. And then this side is going to be what faces the wheel. So you're going to slide it on with that concave side down, you could say. If I rotate this up, and then just find where it kind of slides in the easiest. And I already put some new grease on there, so it had some nice newer stuff. And there, it kind of slid on, I don't know, ½ inch already. And now I'll just persuade it the rest of the way with a rubber mallet. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep hitting this the rest of the way until we get it down far enough to where we can put this C-clip back on. Okay, this side is done. I got the C-clip on once I hammered it down all the way, and then this part just slides up, and the grooves line up with the balls, and it just slides on up. And then I filled it with 1 whole packet. I cleaned as much of the old stuff out as I could, and I filled it with 1 whole packet of grease. And now I'm going to go ahead and just grease up the other side. Put some grease in there, push it down into the ball bearings here, put the boot back on. Boom, all painted nice and shiny. I was going to paint them red to match the diff cover, but let's change it up. Let's go with something shiny. So this is them. Got all the new boots on. Cages are flipped. New grease, painted, cleaned up. And I'm happy with the way they turned out. So these will be going in the R200. And I've got an OBX LSD in there now. Just finished up that install. So I'll have a video on that soon. And then one more comment on these. They are different lengths per driver's side and passenger side. So mine, when I bought them from the guy, he labeled it for me, so I just kept that label on, and I'm just going to trust him because I have no reason not to. So just remember, they are different lengths, so if you're unsure which is driver's side, which is passenger side, you might need to look up and figure out what those differences are. So that's where I'm going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching this little restoration, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later. And now that I said that, I just wanted to go ahead and double check. And from what I saw online, the passenger side is longer. So note where that 2-inch mark is. And it's shorter on this side, which should be the driver's side. The longer one is on the passenger. And seems to match up. So, all right, see you later.